So good morning, everyone, and welcome to this information webinar on the Utopia Science and Innovation Fellowship Program. My name is Raffaella Canu, and I am supporting the program coordination of this project for CY Cergy Paris University. This webinar will be structured as follows. Arnaud Lefranc will do an overview of the EUTOPIA-SIF program. Sylvie Nissen will present the technical details of the fellowship positions and the requirements. Kate Robinson will guide you through a demo of the online application procedure. In the end, the three speakers will hold a Q&A session. At the bottom of your screen, you will find a button with the words Q&A, opening a box where you can write questions throughout the webinar. Please refrain asking questions through the chat because we will not be able to answer it. Instead, use the Q&A box. Your questions will be dealt after the three presentations. We may now start and I give the floor to the first presentation.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Arnaud Lefranc. I'm the program director for the EUTOPIA Science and Innovation Fellowships. I'm also professor of economics and vice president at CY Cergy Paris Université in France. We are going to give you an overview of the SIF program, including the general purpose of the program, its ambition, and the practical modalities for applying to the program. So I would first like to share my screen and highlight for a few minutes the main features of the SIF program. The EUTOPIA Science and Innovation Fellowship is a new international postdoctoral fellowship program that we are launching this year. The main purpose of this program is to be an essential step in early career stages for ambitious, talented early stage academics wishing to further their research skills, but also expand their career prospects and career opportunities, as well as an important opportunity for researchers in the early stages of their career to explore new research horizons, as well as to gear their research towards impact and tackle the main scientific and societal challenges of our time. The program is hosted by the EUTOPIA European University Alliance, which I'm going to present in a minute. And this program is supported by the Marie Sklodowska-Curie COFFIN scheme for training early stage researchers. So a few words on the EUTOPIA Alliance. The EUTOPIA Alliance gathers 6 important European universities in 6 different countries. We have the Vrije Universiteit Brussels, we have CY Cergy Paris Université in France, we have the University of Gothenburg in Sweden, of Ljubljana in Slovenia, Pompeu Fabra in Spain, and the University of Warwick in the United Kingdom. These 6 universities, based on their history of collaboration, have come together to form a European university project that was selected by the European Commission in its recent 2019 call, aimed at fostering the emergence of new models of European universities. So EUTOPIA was selected as one of the first 17 Erasmus Plus universities in 2019 and has moved forward in building an integrated and connected university system, tackling with both educational cooperation and research cooperation, with the objective to address global and local challenges, to be impactful, to advance academic excellence, to foster inclusion, and to take an active part in contributing to European economic development through innovation and research. Let me now emphasize some specific aspects of the EUTOPIA Science and Innovation Fellowship Program that the EUTOPIA Alliance has developed. So as I said in the introduction, this is a postdoctoral fellowship program that addresses a broad range of academic disciplines and topics. The program is structured around 5 key research areas. These research areas correspond to critical societal issues of the current times that are central for understanding and shaping the future of our planet, the technologies that drive our lives, and the societies that we live in. These 5 key research areas are listed here on the slides. They go from materials engineering to welfare and inclusion, going through data and intelligence, health issues, and sustainability issues. And the way you should read these 5 key research areas is twofold. I mean, obviously, they correspond to specific academic disciplines. For instance, if you take data and intelligence, this will speak in particular to computer scientists and data specialists, but not exclusively, because this research area should primarily be seen as core societal issues and key topics that call for a broad range of disciplinary perspectives. In fact, what the program wishes to accomplish is to gather fellows tackling these 5 main challenges in an interdisciplinary way. So the program strongly encourages interdisciplinary interactions, and it's also important to emphasize that any of these 5 key research areas is open to researchers from all academic fields wishing to connect to one of these important research areas. And so in particular, researchers in humanities could also apply to this program as long as their research project is connected to one of these 5 research areas. In fact, it's also important here to emphasize, we're going to discuss it a bit later, but that this program and application to the program is research driven and is based on individual independent research proposals that are developed by the applicants to the program. So let me briefly highlight a few of the benefits that the EUTOPIA Science and Innovation Fellowship Program offers. I think the first major advantage of this program is that it allows access to an outstanding world-class research environment. The EUTOPIA Alliance as a whole gathers more than 700 research centers, 300,000 faculty and research staff, 10,000 postgraduate researchers, and allow access to high quality research facilities and equipment. And the fellows hired as fellows of the EUTOPIA Science and Innovation Fellowship will have a direct entry into this connected world-class research environments. In fact, fellows will be jointly hosted by 2 research groups of the EUTOPIA Alliance and will have to choose a primary research host in one of the 6 universities, but we'll also need to indicate a second co-host, and we'll have to spend between 2 and 6 months in their co-host research groups, let alone transversal common activity programs that will be developed by the EUTOPIA-SIF fellowships that will gather all fellows regardless of their primary and secondary hosting institution. The program also emphasizes opportunities for intersectoral and international mobility. Fellows will be encouraged to undertake a secondment besides their mobility within the alliance. They will be encouraged to undertake a secondment with international and or non-academic partners of the program for a duration of at least 2 weeks. And last, the program is also seen as a career booster, so to speak. So besides offering research independence and the ability for early stage researchers to foster their research skills, The fellows hired in the program will also be offered a dedicated training and activity program aimed at reinforcing their disciplinary skills, their transversal skills, but also enhancing their innovation and impact awareness through connections with non-academic partners, as well as fostering interdisciplinary exchange in order to broaden their research perspectives. So we will be more specific on the application procedure, but please consider joining the EUTOPIA-SIF program and become an EUTOPIA-SIF postdoctoral fellow. I'll pass on to Sylvie for the next step of the presentation.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry. So, I'm Sylvie Nissen. I'm the EUTOPIA-SIF program coordinator together with Raphaël Lacanou. And I will explain to you more in detail the application and selection procedure. So first of all, our first call is now open from October, and now you can create your own application on the platform that you can reach here. The address is also available on the EUTOPIA-SIF website and in the White for Applicants. Please remember that the deadline is on January 11 at 1 o'clock, so be very careful and try to submit your proposal on time and preferably some days before. So who can apply and how? So we are welcoming research project from recognized researcher who hold a PhD or equivalent from any nationality and from all disciplines, from science to humanitarian arts. The candidates are expected to propose ambitious research projects in line with the key research area Arnaud Lefranc just presented you before. You will carry your research project essentially in EUTOPIA University hosting your fellowship. And then you will have a secondment period from 2 to 6 months in a second University of EUTOPIA. You will have to choose a combination of host and co-host from 1 to 3 combination. So please, we have only a few fellowship available in each university. So please consider to have more than one combination in your choices when you apply. There is also a very important point in Marie Curie Skłodowska-Curie mobility rules. So if you want to be eligible, you, as a researcher in our fellowship, you must not have resided or carried out your main activity, work or studies in the country of the selected primary host university for more than 12 months in the 3 years prior to the date of appointment as a EUTOPIA-SIF fellow. So this date is September 2021. So if you have performed a period of study, for example, in 2080 in the southern France, in Montpellier, for example, and if after, in 2020, you succeed in having a training period of 2 months and after work for 2 months again in France, for example, in Grenoble, you will not be able to ask to go to France, so to CY University as a host. But as this rule doesn't apply to the co-host, you can ask also for your secondment period at CY University. If you the 20 happy few will be offered a quite interesting menu. So a 24 months employment contract in one of our EUTOPIA University, and an average salary around 4,000 euro with adjustment depending on the standard quality of life in the host country. You will also have a supplementary budget for research and travel expenses and full academic freedom for performing your research. You will have access to state-of-the-art infrastructure and enjoy the support and career guidance from senior academic mentors in the host and co-host university. We will do all our best to provide you with attractive living conditions and high quality of life in our universities. And of course, we will support you for mobility-related queries and eventual issues. So what do we need in your application file? Of course, the central part is the ambitious research proposal that you have. Then you have to choose at least one key research area, but as the SIF program is promoting interdisciplinarity, of course, if you choose more, it will be more than welcome. Again, you will have to choose a host and co-host combination among the 6 Utopia university and up to 3. Then you have to add your resume, a personal statement, reference letters. You have to sign an ethics declaration and join the copy of your PhD certificate of equivalent. So this is the file. Another point here is that it is not compulsory, but is highly recommended to engage with the research group you are targeting. So you can find all the contact points at this address that is also available in the guide for applicant. And please try to contact them because it will enhance the quality of your research project, and you will be able to check also the feasibility of your research project in the laboratory premises at the host and co-host university. So how do we evaluate your proposal? We will have 2 bunches of criteria. The first one is related to the research project. We will check the scientific and technical quality and excellence of your research proposal, its feasibility and suitability. At this point, again, it is very important to check before whether it's feasible in the lab and how you can really best fit with the targeted research group. And of course, we will have a look at the impact and dissemination action plan. The second bunch of criteria is related to you and your qualities, your experience, your track record, your qualities as a leader, and also what you present as an added value for your career for this fellowship. So last slide, let me share with you the indicative timeline. So after the deadline on January 11, we will run an eligibility check, which is an administrative step in this process, where we'll check if you have submitted on time in English all the requested document and if you comply with all the rules we have just discussed before. Then we will collect the feedbacks of the research group. So again, it is very important to have discussed with them before. And then your proposal will enter into the review stage. Your proposal will be assessed by 3 experts, and then we will come up with a ranking list. The top of this list will be invited to an interview in front of a jury. So you will be able to discuss your research project and show your motivation for this fellowship. Then the interview panel will have a ranking list, and they will give this ranking list to the board of directors. The board will discuss and then agree on a final list of selected projects and also a reserved list by mid-April. Then we will notify the result to applicants, and the 20 happy few will receive a fellowship offer from EUTOPIA University in order to start the fellowship on September 2021. So we are expecting a lot of very good proposal. I wish you good luck, and I give now the floor to Kate Robinson for the explanation of the submission platform. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to walk you through a few parts of the application platform. You create your account on the application platform. The page is very simple. And when you click on the Utopia Science and Innovation Fellowship, it will ask you to name your application. In this case, I've named it Webinar 2. Once we're inside the application, we can see that there are 6 different tasks to complete. Some of them I've already completed this morning as they're very simple and we don't need to spend much time on them. Others we're going to complete together so that we can pick up on a few details. First of all, the standardized CV. I already filled in the address, information about the universities where the PhD and the master were obtained, at least the bachelor degree as well would be interesting, with the dates and the type of studies. Following on from that, there's a space for any extra training and development outside of the educational degrees that you already have. And then a part to do with the employment history. Most employment history that I've filled in here, and taking particular attention to indicate whether or not this is a permanent research position or not, as this will affect the eligibility of your application. If you have more relevant experience, you can click yes here, and there'll be a table to fill in with further details. In this case, I'm going to click no. A section for career breaks, you could indicate, for example, maternity leave or looking after sick members of the family. And finally, outputs to do with publications, conference proceedings, conference presentations, etc. Separated by a line. For example, here we've got 2 referred papers by Robin Hood. We also have symposia compiled volumes, research presentations, and publications that are currently under consideration for publication. At the end of this form, there's 2 parts. There's the possibility to upload your personal CV, which is not mandatory, and your personal statement, which is mandatory. There's no template for this personal statement, but it's a good idea to include as much information as possible, keeping to the 2 pages which are asked for. I'm going to upload 2 files. Both of the formats need to be PDF. So we're going to choose this file here. And the same thing here. And once we've finished, it's complete. You can now see that of the 6 tasks that we have on the left-hand side, 3 of them have got the green circle. The research proposal is half full, which indicates that the form's partly filled in but hasn't been completed. I'm going to go into the research proposal. As you can see, I've an acronym, a title, an abstract. I've indicated 2 key research areas, going back to what both Arno and Sylvie explained. You can choose 1 key research area. If there isn't a second one that's of interest, you can choose non-applicable. If not, you may also choose a second key research area. We then get onto the extremely important section, which is choosing the host and the co-host. There's first choice, second choice, and a little bit further down, a third choice. Please make sure that you choose on the left-hand side the host and on the right-hand side the co-host. In this example, I've chosen CY Cergy Paris Université on the left-hand side and University of Warwick on the right-hand side. It's important that both Sylvie and Anya pointed out that you try and have contact with the laboratories before indicating anything in prospective host research group. And if you click on this link here, it will open a page, this page, where you can find the different research groups in each university that take part in this program. By clicking on these links, you will arrive on the website of each research group, and you'll have to find the appropriate might be able to contact. If ever you're having trouble with this, you may also contact the local program managers, and their details are in the guide for applicants. Once you've chosen the host, you can indicate the prospective research group. In this case, for Cergy Paris Université, I've chosen Geography, Mobility, Territories and Environment. And my prospective academic supervisor, who I've already been in contact with, is Santa Claus. I'm ticking this box to confirm that I am in accordance with the MCSA rule, as Sylvie explained earlier on. And the same thing applies then for the second and the third choices. For the second choice, the opposite of my first choice, so University of Warwick as my host and CY Cergy Paris Université as my co-host. Here I've put Warwick Business School as my host research group and Puss in Boots as my supervisor. I'm confirming again that I'm in accordance with the MSCA rule. And the same for the third choice. The last part of this page is the uploading of the full research proposal. You may find here a link to download the template. And once you've filled it in and converted it into the PDF format, you can click here to upload the file. We can then mark this section as complete. The upload of the PhD certificate, I think, is relatively simple. I'm not going to show you how to do it. Last point that I would like is concerning the request for letters of reference. What you have to do is fill in the name and the first name and the last name and the email address of the person who's going to provide the letter for you. You can put them a short message and then send the request. They will receive an email form inviting them to create an account and to upload directly the letter in a PDF format to support your application. They will be able to do this up until a certain number of days after the deadline, until the 29th of January. In fact, it's written here, in order to give them time to complete this task after you finish your application. Once all of the 7 tasks are completed, you will have the possibility to click here on the submit button. Please note that once you've clicked on the submit button, it's not possible to change the details of the application. If ever there's a problem before the deadline, you may contact us on the email address that's indicated at various places in the application form and also in the guide for applicants. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Kate and Sylvie, for the presentation. So we have now already a lot of questions in the Q&A part of the webinar. So let me once again remind you that if you want to ask some questions, you should not use the chat, but use the Q&A part. So we're going to start answering the different questions asked. Maybe as a starting point, I would like to answer a question that one of the applicants is asking about difficulty he or she has with the application template. So it's probably important to remind you of where to find the relevant documents and information complementary to this webinar regarding all you need to conduct your application. So I'm going to very briefly share once again my screen. Can Rafaela confirm that I'm sharing my screen okay? Yeah. So this is the homepage of the application platform. This is in fact the hub for all the EUTOPIA research applications. New projects are going to open soon, but the project you're concerned with is the EUTOPIA Science and Innovation Fellowship. If you click more here, you have an overview description of the program, and at the bottom of this page, you'll find 2 important documents that you should be aware of. The first one is the guide for applicants. We've tried to provide a detailed description of the program and the application process. And here you also have the link to the research proposal template. So I would like to emphasize that from the very beginning, because it seems that the person who's experiencing some problem with the template is not using the correct proposal template. That person who will recognize herself says that it jumps from section 1 to section 3, and there's a variety of issues related to the formatting. Just double checked as the question was asked, and it seems that you're not using the right template. So please update your application form and use the correct one. Beyond that, I would like to address several questions regarding the choice of host research groups. Several of you have asked whether it was possible to provide information. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Whether it was possible to provide a list of possible host research groups. You will see in the guide for applicants, as well as on the program description that sits on the EUTOPIA Alliance website, that we have compiled for each of the 5 key research areas, a list of the relevant research groups that could host your proposal. So please look into details what groups could best fit with your particular research project, and do not hesitate, since we are providing in this list, we're providing with links to the relevant research groups or departments. I mean, it varies. I mean, the structure, the internal structuring of research groups and departments and labs differs across universities. So for some universities, it's a research group, a list of research groups. For others, it's a list of departments. We link you to the homepage of the relevant research groups or departments. So please do not hesitate to reach out to these groups or departments to further discuss. As Sylvie mentioned, it's important to get in touch with the prospective host research groups to exchange on your research projects and come up with a more relevant research application. But all the links to relevant groups are on the program's main page. There was a series of questions regarding PhD completion. For instance, Hannes Marine is asking at which date the PhD degree should be obtained, and Ajena Rose is asking pretty much the same question. I'm going to turn to Rafaela for details on these questions.
Yes or no, I will answer to those questions. So the EUTOPIA-SIF program is addressed to candidates who have completed their PhD or who have 4 years of equivalent full-time research experience. So this means that if you are a PhD candidate and you are yet to defend your PhD thesis, or you have submitted your PhD thesis, but you are not yet in the possession of a PhD certificate, you might submit a provisional PhD certificate asking an official headed paper from your supervisor or academic institution, and attesting that the candidate has completed your PhD or will be to the due date, or provide a proof of your 4 years of full-time research equivalent experience. Bearing in mind that the requirement is that you are in possession of your title or of the required experience before the end of the program interview stage selection. This means the date is around mid-April. So before that date, you shall be in possession either of your PhD title or 4 years of equivalent experience to be considered eligible for the program. Bear in mind also that in case you will be recruited and in case you haven't submitted it within your application, you will be asked before the recruitment for your PhD certificate. I think this more or less answers the covers the questions that were asked concerning the PhD certificate and eligibility. I also saw a few questions concerning whether is it compulsory on how should a candidate behave or proceed with his or her application in case he or she didn't get a confirmation of availability from a primary or secondary or the third choice of hosting organizations. It is not compulsory to have a confirmation prior to the submission of your application, although it is an asset for your application. And take also into account that the heads of the host research groups that you have indicated as your host organization in your choice will be contacted to express an assessment of your evaluation. So if you manage to get in touch with the research group, again, it is not compulsory, but it is an asset for your application. And again, if you need further information or help for getting in contact with heads of research groups or prospective supervisors, do not hesitate to refer to the local program managers, which are the EUTOPIA-SIF contact points in the EUTOPIA-SIF partner universities. You will find their contacts in the guide for applicants in the section 6 at the end of the guide. And they will guide you through the research environment and support you in the choice of the most suitable host group for your research proposal.
Maybe I shall add some elements to that. It's indeed very important that that you get in touch with prospective host research groups, and it can sometimes be difficult to get some feedback, to be very honest. So it's important to reassure you that all the research groups involved in this fellowship program across the 6 universities are very enthusiastic about the program and very eager to welcome high quality applicants in the program. Now, it can sometimes happen that your individual initiatives to get in touch with research groups, heads of research groups, get lost in the overflow of emails that everyone is subject to. So don't discourage yourself. Try to find a good way to make hosts of host research groups, heads of host research groups willing to get back to you. As Rafaela said, it's not mandatory to have a positive feedback to appoint a host research groups as in your application form. So if you've contacted research groups, haven't heard back, you can still indicate this research group among your choices. And as Rafaela said, there's going to be a specific stage of the after the application process. All applications will be sent to the relevant host research groups for an assessment of the relevance of the research project for the research group. So this will be essentially about assessing the fit of the application with the research projects conducted under the particular research groups that you're applying to, just to avoid misalignments of research projects and applications. For instance, if someone is working in, let's say, chemistry and is applying to a biology group that does something completely different, it's of course important to have that information. But this will be implemented after you have submitted your application in the stage of evaluation of the proposals. And then there was a related question about supervisors and mentors. you're asked not only to indicate a prospective host research group, but we also give you the possibility to be more specific about who within a particular host research group would supervise your research during your fellowship. So again, this is it is advised that you indicate who you think will supervise your research work. It's not mandatory. In the best of possible situations, this information could be discussed between you and the prospective host. If you don't have that information, despite having tried to find a suitable supervisor, again, you can do two things. You can get in touch with the local contact for the SIF program for each university, who might assist you in identifying a suitable supervisor. And beyond that, you can nevertheless indicate a prospective name. And if you don't have that indication in your application, this does not disqualify you from applying. So I'm just going through the different questions as my colleagues do, and I'm sure we're going to sort of take turns in answering these questions. Maybe Sylvie, once you've identified some questions for you, you can jump in. Don't hesitate. But let me answer a question I saw on the description of the second man plan. So. You're asked in the application form to discuss what type of secondment you're thinking of conducting. At the stage of applying, it might well be the case that you're not in a position to fully define which particular institution you're going to go and conduct your secondment with. Before getting into more details here, let me recall that there are two secondments under this program. One is what we call what could be seen as an internal secondment. That's the mobility between your primary host to your co-host, and this is internal to the EUTOPIA Alliance. So this first secondment is compulsory for a period of 2 to 6 months, and you should be specific about the co-hosting of your research project and about which particular co-host research groups you're going to select. There's another secondment external to the EUTOPIA Alliance for a duration of 2 weeks to 3 months with either a non-academic partner outside the EUTOPIA Alliance or an international partner, which could well be academic or non-academic. And for this latter external secondment, we fully understand that at the stage of preparing your application, you don't have all the details for indicating which particular secondment host you're going to select. What we need at least to have in your application is a general description of the type of external secondment you wish to conduct, how it connects with your research plan, with your career development plan, whether it's going to be industrial applications that will be targeted, whether you are willing to connect with a non-governmental organization to discuss the applicability of your research. These are the type of information that you should at least indicate. If you can be more specific and suggest a possible external secondment host, please do so. We also have we have posted on the website of the program a list of partners of the program beyond the 6 universities of the Alliance that have confirmed their interest in hosting fellows of the program. Of course, this is not a closed list. You may add some other options to that list. And ultimately, once you get selected into the program, you'll be asked to refine your secondment plan and come up with a detailed secondment project in conjunction with your mentor and supervisors. And yes, a hospital could well be, that's an answer to M. Mitran, a hospital can well be acceptable for external secondment.
So concerning the assessment by the three experts, yes, the expert will be external to the Utopia University. The only feedback we will have from the inside is from the targeted research group, and these feedbacks will be available for the external experts.
There are several questions that point to the Marie Curie mobility rule. For instance, Tatiana is asking, could I apply to CY Cergy Paris Université as I have conducted my PhD in France and resided there until the end of December. So again, the rule is that if you're applying to a particular country, one of the 6 countries, let's say France in your example, the rule is that to be eligible to the program, you should not have spent more than 12 months in France over the last 36 months before the date of selection. And this is a strict rule that applies to the primary host of your project, but not to the secondary host of your project. So I haven't worked out the numbers, but it seems that if you've stayed in France until December 2018, you would have spent more than 12 months in France over the last 36 months. Assume this is the case. Just have to work out exactly the number of months. But if it's the case that you are not eligible to a particular country because you do not satisfy the Marie Curie mobility rule, you can still well indicate this country as a co-host of your research project. So assume you've spent the last 36 months in the in Slovenia, you cannot apply to the University of Ljubljana, but you can apply as indicate as primary host any other 5 universities, and you can also appoint Ljubljana as a co-host of your project. Still on the co-hosting of the program, there's a question on whether you need to enter the information on the co-host institution in the application platform. You do have to fill that information in, as Kate Robinson showed. When going through quickly the application forms. In fact, one of the key stages is that you have to indicate 3 choices of a host co-host tandem. So for each of the 3 options, you need to indicate both the primary host and the co-host. These informations are quite important. As Sylvie mentioned, we are offering 20 positions, and that's the total number of positions available for the first call. Again, there's going to be 3 additional calls, offering each of them roughly the same number, 20 in total. Now there's capacity limits within each university. So
I would like to answer to Pedrino question about the recommendation letter. And no, it's not necessary to be professor, to come from professor of Utopia University, just because you are very welcome from all over the world, as we said. So of course, you just need to have a recommendation letter from someone who can recommend you for research. But of course, it's not necessary to be inside the Utopia University.
And let me add to that, it's also worth pointing that we're not expecting you to get a recommendation letter from the prospective research groups, from the host of the research groups. As I already explained, they will be contacted to assess the relevance of your application to the specificities of the research group. So this will be dealt with separately. You can ask recommendation letters to people who know well your research capacities and can testify to your in favor of your strong research potential. There was a related question on the issue of reference letters that are on the technical side. Some of you indicated that when they appointed, when they indicated their references in the application platform, the way it works is that you indicate an email and the application platform automatically sends a request for recommendation letter to the person you've indicated when applying. Now, apparently some of you are in the case where the person that was indicated did not receive the invitation for a recommendation. This usually comes from the fact that the recipient of the email does not receive the invitation in her inbox because it gets filtered out by the mail server, the receiving mail server. So please advise these people to carefully look at the spam section of their mailbox because the invitation for recommendation 99% of the case is somewhere there. In case there's specific difficulties, please let us know. We should be able to help you fix the problem. Sometimes using an alternative email address that is not subject to the same filtering might also help.
To answer to Tetiana, we will be able to see the reviews written by the external reviewers. No, you will not be able to see them directly, but you will have all feedbacks whether your proposal is selected or not. You will have feedback from synthesis of the external reviewer and the advice of the targeted research group.
Some eligibility questions. An anonymous attendee is asking, can Marie Curie Fellows apply for a postdoc with EUTOPIA? To the best of my knowledge, the answer is yes. Nothing prevents you from being hired on this particular program, as long as you satisfy the other eligibility requirements, in particular the Marie Curie mobility rule. And there's also a question from Chintan Bat asking, I am an assistant professor. Am I eligible for this fellowship? The condition, there's an eligibility condition on the fact that you should not hold a permanent position at the time of applying. So subject to that, you may be eligible to apply if the position you're holding is not a permanent position.
If you allow me, I would like to answer a question concerning the training program of the Utopia fellowships. So as you probably have read in our website, you will be offered participation to training opportunities concerning both scientific skills, which you will be trained at directly through your research work at the level of your host group institution. And especially, there will be a dedicated training program for EUTOPIA-SIF fellows, which will be focused on transversal skills, such as communication skills, project management, grant funding, and so on and so forth. I cannot go into further detail because the training program is still being set. But be aware of the fact that each fellow of the EUTOPIA-SIF will have training modules to attend, and will have a good choice of training opportunities to develop furtherly their skills in the framework of further career development and enhancing the opportunities and the capability of progressing their career into the research, academic and non-academic area as well.
So there's a question on the starting date for the fellowship. So the starting date is set at September 2021. Very marginal adjustment to that date could be considered, but only within the range of a few days or weeks at the most. The idea is that this program gathers a cohort of fellows across which interdisciplinary exchange could take place, of fellows who will form a community of future research leaders, gathered by different common activities, including a yearly symposium, including shared participation in training programs. So it's very important that all the fellows hired start in the beginning of the academic year 2021. A question from Siddharth Tamang. Can we have more than one external secondment? Well, in principle, yes. There's no strict limitation to that. If it's relevant, if it's duly justified by your research and career development plan, we can accommodate for that. Someone else asked for details on the duration of the external secondment. As I already indicated earlier in the presentation, the duration is of at least 2 weeks and at most 3 months. So family issues. There are two questions pertaining to family issues. Someone asked, can I bring my family along? Well, probably not in the lab, but you are, of course, welcome to move with your family. I mean, of course, and family constraints are important. And the local teams of the program and more generally the human resource services of each universities should be able to assist you with whatever family specific administrative formalities you need to conduct. We also try to provide information on family related matters such as availability of childcare, assist with schooling registration in the local country or the local place where you will be conducting your fellowship. There was a question about the the availability of specific family allowance. The answer is that the program does not pay specific family allowances. So I saw a specific question on one of the key research areas. Someone was asking, can a little detail be given to what is included in the welfare and inclusion key research area? Well, this is pretty inclusive in a way. It's essentially so as you can. I'm going to answer more generally than specifically addressing the welfare and inclusion key research area. If you look at the 5 key research areas, I think several of them are largely connected to general societal challenges, as highlighted, for instance, by the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So welfare and inclusion is any topic connected to issues surrounding the inclusiveness of modern society. So this encompasses a broad range of questions and disciplines, ranging from access to job, economic prosperity, poverty, access to education, equality of opportunity, inclusiveness in society, and any form of challenges that may hinder societal inclusiveness. It can be political participation as well. And so we've indicated in the guide for applicants that this covers a broad range of topics and disciplines that are mostly in the social sciences, but not necessarily exclusively in the social sciences. For instance, access to technology is an important part of inclusivity. If you've and the spirit of my remark on how broad the topic of welfare and inclusion is also applies to any of the 5 key research areas. If you take, for instance, the topic data and intelligence, of course, this topic can be addressed from a technical perspective, but it can also, for instance, be addressed from a legal perspective, from an ethical perspective, thinking about what is at stake behind the development of artificial intelligence goes way beyond technical aspects. Of course, technical aspects, the properties of the algorithms, the efficiency of computing facilities is an important aspect of the questions. But the societal impact or the societal consequences of whatever technological development occurs in the field of data intelligence is also an important aspect of the challenge of data and intelligence. So these 5 key research areas should be understood as key impact areas more than as a close set of disciplines. And we welcome any project fitting in these 5 key research areas. So in a way, you might say, okay, it's quite broad and it's quite encompassing, and it definitely is true. But it's also important that you motivate how your particular research project fits and addresses important aspects of the key research area or key research areas that you indicate as possible, as relevant for your research proposal. And this requires um, um, to reach out of your sort of individual research agenda to start thinking about the impact of the research you conduct. And this is one of the things we want to achieve with this broad, interdisciplinary, and impact-driven postdoctoral fellowship program. An internal message to the webinar team: whenever a question is answered, please mark it as done so that we can identify what's left. One question by Fabrizio Alberti: research expenses. So in fact, there are two dedicated budgets, one for research expenses, strictly speaking. So that's essentially research in the lab or research connected to the activity you conduct with your host and co-host. And well, in experimental science, this include fluids or lab consumables. It's not where this budget could be extended. It's not out of the SIF project, but I suspect that research centers could also add to that budget. It has to be decided on a case by case. Regarding the template, whether figures are allowed in the research proposal section, yes, you can include some figures. You should not modify the overall structure of the document. You should not go beyond the allocated space that is given for each section. But inside each box, you can include some figures. And there's also some formatting requirements that are given at the very beginning of the template. A question on the possibility to go beyond the list of hosting groups that is advertised. The answer in the specific case that anonymous attendee is asking, whether it's possible at VUB to add other research groups. For VUB, the answer to be confirmed by the local program, the local contact that we indicated, but the answer is no for VUB. It's a restricted list of groups, and more generally, you should consider that the list of research groups is where you should apply. If you are surprised to see some group missing, please contact the local university contact for the SIF program, who might be able to provide you with detailed answers. So I think now I hope we've addressed the most general questions. I mean, we are left with some sort of very applicant-specific questions at this stage. Someone is asking about the field of recreation and ecotourism. Well, for sure, ecotourism can be can fit with the sustainability key research area.
We can also try to answer the question of Kelly. In case of more combination of host and co-host, we need to have communicated the same research proposal with all of them. I guess this is, of course, you can have only one proposal, and it's the same proposal you have to give to all your combination. Am I correct, Arnaud?
Yes, absolutely. A question on the choice of the external secondment from someone who's been an intern in a research institute over the past, probably during PhD. Can he or she suggest that same institution for the external secondment under the SIF program as well? Well, as I said, whatever you suggest, and it's important that you get a clear view of what you expect from this external secondment. But external secondment plans will be validated once you get selected into a program by you and your research supervisors and mentors. So if going for another secondment with that same research group has clear value added to you, why not? If on the other hand you want to diversify your external experiences, we might advise you to try to find another external secondment, but this has to be dealt with on a case-by-case basis.
If I may, I would like to address a question concerning the ethics self-assessment. So in your application procedure in the online platform, you will find a checklist of ethical issues concerning your project. This means that if you indicate that your research proposal concerns some of the ethical issues mentioned, in the case that you will access to the interview stage, you will also receive questions concerning the ethical issues that you have highlighted. And if recruited, you will be asked to repeat the ethical assessment and to evaluate it before the starting of your research project and then during your research work. If Arnaud wants to add something on it, but this is more or less how this will be dealt, at least at the application process. Then for very specific issues concerning very specific matters of your research project, of course, it depends on the matter.
Maybe two last questions. Well, unless there's more, but someone asked whether fellows will receive the gross amount plus the net amount. We try to offer attractive amounts, but unfortunately, you will only receive the net amount, not the sum of the gross and the net. So what gets paid on your bank account is the net amount. One question about again, it's a very specific question, but someone is trying to get in touch with get information on the research group from CY Cergy Paris Université through a website that apparently is only in French and not in English. There's probably a mistake copying to the English version of the website. But what I would advise in that particular case is that you send an email to the head of research group. I think we're going to, well, water purification, yes, that's sustainability and materials engineering for sure. I would like to finish with the question from Monahem Ben Ali, and I think it's a good way to finish this webinar. There's a question on whether the innovativeness and more generally the level of ambition of the research proposal is whether this is the most crucial component of the application, or whether it is the achievement of the applicant. Well, of course, it's a mixed evaluation. And among the things that are taken into account are, well, your past achievement as a researcher, the quality of your research application, and we're counting on you to produce exciting, groundbreaking new research projects, and that's the second element. Of course, it's very important that you highlight what you expect from this program in terms of career development. In particular, that you have a clear view of what benefits you will derive from the program in terms of training, in terms of specific disciplinary research capability development, but also in terms of your ability to more generally grow into a successful academic. And even beyond academia, the program strongly emphasizes the need that modern research connects to non-academic stakeholders of research. So the need to open up to the non-academic sector through intersectoral segments. So this is also an important part of your application, that you get a clear view on what you will derive from the program and be able to spell it out. So these are the different components of your application, and they all matter in the selection process. So I think we will stop here. I thank you all very much for participating into this webinar. I hope that we've been able to answer the questions you had on this, on how to apply to this new program. I wish you the best with your application. I wish you the best with the end of your holiday season. I hope it's going to be a pleasant season. I'm sure it's going to be very pleasant, because it's always pleasant to start working out new research projects, and I'm sure you're going to spend part of the holiday season dealing with that. But more generally, stay safe, have a good end of your holiday, and we are all looking forward to receiving your applications to the program. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you all.
Goodbye.